Good morning, students of class 8. We are again meeting in the part 2 of the second chapter, that is from trade to territory. So already in the part 1 we have discussed about the European trading companies, the different trading companies like French, Dutch, then East India Company, British East India Company, how they made wars in Carnatic Wars, first, second, third Carnatic Wars, and how they fought, and ultimately British won the battle. And then we read about the battle of Plassey, okay, about Sirajuddaula. And after that we have also read the factors that led to the rise of British, okay, that what were the drawbacks of the Indian rulers, okay, that led to the uh, uprising of British. And now we are coming to the battle of Buxar, okay. Already you know that in battle of battle of Plassey, Mirkha Singh helped the British, and Mirkha Singh was made as a puppet ruler, but then Mirkha Singh protested, and then Mir Jafar was made as a puppet ruler, and then again after Mir Jafar, Mirkha Singh was replaced, okay. But Mirkha Singh also didn't like to work under British as a puppet, so he made war, okay. That is in battle of Buxar. Now Mirkha Singh along with Shah Alam, Mughal emperor, that is Shah Alam was a Mughal emperor, had taken refuge under the protection of Nawab of Awadh, okay. So Shujauddullah. So they, Mirkha Singh and Shah Alam, they took refuge under Nawab of Awadh, Shujauddullah. Now these three, the three together attacked the East India Company, okay, in the Battle of Buxar, that is in 1764. Now the East India Company won the battle, which gave them Diwani rights, okay. Now that is the right to collect revenue in Bengal, Bihar and Orissa. So you see the three fought with East India Company, and East India Company won the battle, and after the winning of the battle they got the right to collect revenue, where in Bengal, Bihar and Orissa. The districts of Kota and Allahabad were taken from the Nawab of Awadh, okay. So the after what happened, then the districts of Kota and Allahabad, they were taken from the Nawab of Awadh, okay, as punishment. Then the Mughal emperor granted the Jagir of Northern Sirkar. So in return, the Mughal emperor had to give the Jagir, that is the land grant of Northern Sirkars. Northern Sirkars were the divisions of the British India's Madras Presidency. Then Madras Presidency, where the British lived, there are many divisions, so that they have to give it, and became a pensioner under the British. So he became the pensioner under, he had to leave the emperorship and he had to be a pensioner under British. Next comes the dual system of government. So in this dual system of government, what happened? The British established a dual system of government where they had the actual power of controlling revenue, while the administrative responsibility lay with the Nawab. Okay, so here the actual power was given to the Nawab, okay, and the administrative responsibility was given to the Nawab, okay. So what happened? They had the actual power of controlling the revenue, while the administrative responsibility lay with the Nawab. So the British had all the power but no responsibility. So in this dual system of government, British had all the power but he had no responsibility, and the Nawab had all the responsibility but no power. So ultimate enjoyment was the British. Enjoyment was done by the British, and the Nawabs were given all the responsibilities. So this is dual system of government. And Governor General Warren Hastings, he put an end to this arrangement in 1772, as it created confusion and misrule. So this system gave many confusion and misrule. So Governor General Warren Hastings put to end of this. Next comes British policies of expansion. This is another policy of British. The British mainly followed three policies to extend their control of India. So first one is the policy of direct conquest. So in this direct conquest, what happened? British was always fighting, okay, with each other, and so fighting battles and wars. So West Bengal, Bihar, Orissa, Punjab were conquered through direct conquest. So these are the areas that were taken by the British. Next comes policy of subsidiary alliance. So in this policy of subsidiary alliance, according to this alliance, the Indian rulers were not supposed to keep their independent armed forces as they were protected by the EEIC, East India Company. So in this policy, the Indian rulers were not given to keep control of the armed forces. Why? Because the armed forces will be controlled by the British and they will be given protection. Okay, and in return, these Indian rulers, they had to pay for the protection. And so British told that they were not needed, they would not make any create any armed forces. The armed forces will be provided by the British. In return, the Indian rulers had to pay for the development of the armed forces. Okay, if they fail to pay, then what will happen? The Indian rulers was also if they fail to pay, then as a penalty they had to give the territory to the British. Okay. Next, the Indian ruler was also to keep a British resident in the court, and in the court the British there will be British resident to see that the administrative policies were taken in preferably for the British benefit or not. Okay. So, so the Indian states lost their independence. So all the Indian benefits of the Indian states were lost. Okay, their independence were also lost. The states which came under British control were Awadh, Hyderabad, Gwalior, Indore, Udaipur, Jodhpur and Jaipur. These came under British control. Next coming, doctrine of lapse. Okay, in doctrine of lapse, what happened? According to this, if any ruler did not have a natural heir to the throne, he had to take permission from the British to adopt an heir. Suppose a ruler not having son, okay, then he had to take permission from the British to adopt an heir. Now, the British had the right to refuse or sanction such an adoption. Now, if the British think that no, that he would not give any right to adopt any heir, then that territory will be taken by the British. Okay, the territory of the ruler without a male heir was annexed if the British refused the adoption. What are those areas? Jhansi, Nagpur, Satara, Udaipur, Jaipur and Sambhalpur were annexed under this policy. Okay. Next is coming wars with Hyder Ali and Tipu Sultan. Now, Hyder Ali and his son Tipu Sultan of Mysore, they were very powerful. Okay, so the main cause of the war was due to the spices, reason for spices. Now, one of the important reason for the first Anglo-Mysore war was that Mysore had control over trade on Malabar coast. Okay, this was the important trade of, on the Malabar coast. Now, this trade was very attractive for the English East India Company. Why? Because spices like pepper, cardamom, these were all imported and exported. Now, in the first Anglo-Mysore war, Hyder Ali, the ruler of Mysore, defeated the British. Okay. Now, next, later in the second Anglo-Mysore war, Tipu Sultan, the son of Hyder Ali, fought with great courage and outshined his rivals that included the combined forces of British, Marathas and Nizam. So next, after Hyder Ali, his son Tipu Sultan was also very powerful. He fought against British and the Marathas and the Nizam. So last, what happened? In the fourth Anglo-Mysore war, the British won the battle of Seringapatnam in 1792. And finally, the British won the battle in the fourth Anglo-Mysore war, and Tipu Sultan, he was popularly called the Tiger of Mysore. He lost his life. He faced his death in the battle. Next comes is the another important, that is war with the Marathas. Marathas were also very powerful. Okay, the first Anglo-Maratha war was there. It started in 1775 and lasted in 1782. Then the second Maratha war, that is from 18 1803 to 1805, and the third one was starting from 1817 to 1819. Okay, first we are coming to the first Anglo-Maratha War. Now in first Anglo-Maratha War in 1772, Narayan Rao became the Peshwa of Maratha Empire. Okay, but this Narayan Rao was killed by Raghunath Rao, who was his uncle. Okay, now Raghunath Rao became Peshwa by a deceitful manner. Okay, so Raghunath Rao, he became the ruler, but he was helped by the British. So as British helped Raghunath Rao, in return British want something. So what is that he wanted? Raghunath Rao took the help of British to retain his position and signed the Treaty of Surat on March 6, 1775. So what happened according to this treaty? According to this treaty, Salsette and Bassein, the territories of Salsette and Bassein was given to the British, okay, as a part of revenue, okay, along with the part of revenues from Surat and Bharuch districts, okay. In return, British promised to help Raghunath Rao, and so as Raghunath Rao gave these things to British, in return British promised Raghunath Rao to fight in the war. So again, soon a war broke with Raghunath Rao and British one side, and Nana Fandis, who supported the claim of Swahi Madhav Rao, the son of Narayana Rao. So one side Raghunath Rao and British, another side was Nana Fandis. He was supported by Madhav Rao, who was the son of Narayan Rao, whom Raghunath Rao killed, okay, in a deceitful manner. Soon there was a serious difference which arose among the British officials. Now in the British officials also there was various difference in the opinion arose, and a new treaty called Treaty of Purandar was signed. Okay, what is in this treaty? Raghunath Rao was pensioned and sent away, but the revenues of Salsette and Bharuch districts were retained by the British. But though Raghunath Rao went, but the revenues of Salsette and Bharuch, the British will gain it. The Bombay government, however, rejected the treaty and gave shelter to Raghunath Rao. In 1777, Nana Fandis led the Marathas in the series of war with the British. Lastly, peace was finally restored in this war. Nana Fandis led the Marathas in the series of war. Finally, the war ended with the peace treaty. Okay, peace was finally restored, and first Anglo-Maratha war was ended with the signing of the Treaty of Selbai. Okay, according to this treaty, what happened? Raghunath Rao was again made as Peshwa. Okay, next coming second Anglo-Maratha war. In the second Anglo-Maratha war, it was during the reign of Peshwa Bajirao II, who was the son of Raghunath Rao. Now the son of Raghunath Rao, he was hated by the Maratha chiefs. This Peshwa Bajirao II, he was hated by Raghunath Rao. He was hated by the Maratha chiefs. Why? Because Raghunath Rao became the ruler as a Peshwa in a very deceitful manner. So Maratha chiefs hated him also. Peshwa Bajirao II was defeated by Yashwant Rao Holkar, the Maratha ruler of Indore, in the Battle of Pune. So this, Yashwant Rao Holkar, he was also very powerful. So he defeated Peshwa Bajirao II, okay, and he fled to British protection. So finally, this Peshwa Bajirao II, he fled to British protection, and soon he signed a Treaty of Bassein with the East India Company. And in this treaty, he has to give territory for maintenance of a subsidiary force and agreeing to cooperate with no other power. Now, as British protected this Bajirao, so in return, he has to cooperate with the British. How? By maintaining, giving him the territory as the maintenance of subsidiary forces and agreeing to not to cooperate with other power. The Peshwa surrendered to the British power, isolated him from the Maratha chieftains. Then the Sindhias and Bhosles were defeated by the British in a series of battles. Okay. Next comes, however, Yashwant Rao Holkar, the third important Maratha chief, he continued his fight against the British, and the Treaty of Rajghat the Holkars got back most of their territories while retaining control over the large part of Rajasthan. So you can see here that Yashwant Rao Holkar, he continued to fight, and he continued to fight against British. By the Treaty of Rajghat, the Holkars got back most of the territory. Okay, he got back the territory which was taken. Okay, and while retaining control over a large part of Rajasthan. Next, we are coming to the Third Anglo-Maratha War. It was started with the invasion of Maratha territory by British troops led by the Governor General Lord Hastings in 1817. It was led by Lord Hastings, and the so-called purpose of the invasion was to take action against the purpose, he told, Lord Hastings told, the purpose was that Pindaris were a band of robbers who was coming from central India. In order to stop them, this war took place. A series of defeats led to the breakup of the Maratha Empire and the loss of the Maratha independence. Next, the Peshwa was defeated in the Battle of Khatki and Koregaon. So this was the ultimate defeat of the Marathas. The Peshwas were also defeated, and these defeats forced him to flee. And so the Peshwa flee. Other Maratha chiefs were also subjugated by the British. So Peshwa ran away, and other Maratha chiefs, they were subjugated against British, okay, in front of the British. So after the Third Anglo-Maratha War, the company got the control over the entire area in the south of Vindhyas, okay, and Pune was no longer the seat of power of the Peshwa. Peshwa lost Pune, okay, the traditional head of the Marathas. So here completes the end of the Marathas, and the Peshwas also were defeated, and the total entry of the British in the south. Okay, so I think you have already understood the chapter, read it. We will again meet in the next class with your next chapter. Thank you. Have a good day.